Well, that game was not exactly the response I was hoping for, but if you throw out a weak goaltender performance, the result is probably different. Avs lose to the Vancouver Canucks 7-6 in overtime. 13 goals in this one, so it's going to be light on the analysis and heavy on the highlights here. So let's just jump right in. The first period was pretty brutal for the Avs. They didn't look any better than they did in the Calgary game, really, and it was just not what you wanted to see early in the game. Right off the bat, McKinnon would get a breakaway, but he would miss the net, and shortly after, Brock Boeser would get a breakaway of his own, and he would not miss the net. An errant pass by Kerfoot has set up a 2-on-1 situation here for Vancouver with Pettersson on the puck and Boeser on the near side, with Nemeth being the only man back. Initially, Nemeth makes the correct decision to turn around and just skate hard back towards his own zone, but as he's turning to check Pettersson, the pass comes through to Boeser, who he hasn't realized is going to beat him up the near side. He gets halfway turned around, allowing Boeser to just totally beat him cleanly, and a great play by Boeser to beat Grubauer on the breakaway. Everyone on the Avs had 4 days off before the Calgary game, but Nemeth had a couple of extra, including the Calgary game and the game against Minnesota, so it had been even longer for him, and the rust definitely showed in this one. The rest of the first was pretty much a total snoozer. It would take the Avs 9 minutes just to get their first shot on goal. After that, they would have to kill off a couple of their own penalties, which they did fairly well, but there just wasn't a ton of offense coming from the Avs. The only line that seemed to produce any offense for the Avs was the Dries, Wilson, Kerfoot line, but even so, it would be 1-0 after 1. That line I just mentioned wouldn't take long in the second period to get the Avs on the board and open the floodgates for both teams. Great job by Wilson on this play, first to win a puck battle in the far corner and then be strong on the puck, carrying it all the way around and down through behind the net and up to the point. From there, he just feeds a puck to Kerfoot, and you're going to see as the camera pans here, Dries sitting right in front of the net. A very good screen as Kerfoot just throws one towards him. He manages to get his stick on this one perfectly, and there's no chance for Markstrom. With Dries on that line, both Wilson and Kerfoot's games have stepped up significantly. It's going to be real tough to break them up once players start to get healthy. It's also going to make it hard for players like AJ Greer or maybe even Kamenev to get ice time. The rest of the second period would pretty much just go punch counter punch from there, with Boeser and Pettersson coming through again for Vancouver first. A bouncing puck in Vancouver's zone comes right to Pettersson here, and you can see Boeser is already taking off down the ice here. Gonna see some real lack of awareness from both Nieto and Nemeth here, as Boeser gets about even with them before Pettersson has even released this puck. Pettersson knows what's going on here. He just throws it down the ice, knowing Boeser's going to beat these guys clean with both of them still facing him. It's not even close on the race, and Boeser has another partial breakaway that he just rips a shot past Grubauer on. On the one hand, that was a nice set play, and Pettersson and Boeser clearly have great chemistry and are great young players. At the same time, the one thing Nemeth's supposed to do for this team is play defense, and on both the goals so far, he's gotten caught. That frustration would last less than a minute, though, as the Avs would come right back. Rantanen's going to gain the zone here for the Avs and feed McKinnon on the near side, and you can see here, having a player like McKinnon has some big benefits. You have to respect his play here, so he gets the forward to commit to him instead of staying high. That leaves a nice big gap at the point for Ian Cole to walk into it, step into a pass from McKinnon, and rip a bomb onto the far side of Markstrom. Great shot by Cole there. Nice to see the Avs defense starting to get involved in the offense a little bit more, and McKinnon, obviously the superstar status, is starting to help the Avs quite a bit. You also get points on the board for Rantanen and McKinnon again, and you can kind of breathe knowing that the MGM line is starting to come back after that weak game against Calgary. Unfortunately, from here, a lot of the weight ends up falling on Grubauer. He just seemed to kind of lose his game, and a couple minutes later it showed. Vancouver wins a face-off in the offensive zone here that comes back to Goodbranson. He fires it towards the net. It ends up getting blocked in front, but you'll see as the puck comes down right to Eriksson here, a little bit unlucky, but Grubauer clearly tracking this puck. He knows exactly where it is, and he sees it come onto Eriksson's stick. The defense is a little bit slow to react here as Eriksson goes to shoot, but again, Grubauer knows exactly where this puck is. He just gets caught backpedaling into his own goal here, leaves too much of the far side open and can't make the save. Now on its own, not a great goal to give up, but not terrible. You can accept that one. It's when you combine all the ones still to come that one starts to add on to the bad look. But there were no brakes on the train of this second period, and McKinnon with the monkey off his back decides that he needs to pick up a couple more goals. A scramble faceoff eventually comes to Tyson Barrie for the Avs here, who does a good job to jump up, skating into this play to create a 3-on-2 rush. As he gains the blue line, he feeds Rantanen on the far side, and you're going to see all three Canucks end up looking to Rantanen side here. McKinnon recognizes this, jumps into the soft spot in the D. Rantanen holds the puck just long enough for McKinnon to slip in behind, feeds him, and then McKinnon also a great little thing here to hold the puck a half second longer to get around the forward defending him, having a clear lane from the high slot, and he just beats Markstrom. So at this point, you know the offense is clicking on all cylinders. The top line is getting it done, and you're getting defensive and depth scoring. Right now, you're expecting the Avs to be able to win this game, much like they did against Ottawa. And that idea would be reinforced once again a few minutes later when that Dries-Wilson-Kerfoot line comes through. Really, this one is just Kerfoot going beast mode here. Gerard's going to feed Kerfoot once he gets to the neutral zone with a nice little slip pass through the middle of the ice, and then Kerfoot just goes for a sweet dangle through two defensemen, finds the puck, and chips it up over the blocker of Markstrom. A beautiful individual effort there. Just Kerfoot's second goal of the season. He was bound to pull off something like that eventually. That's also Kerfoot's 10th point of the year. I know he's been fairly quiet about it, but he's starting to rack them up and be the depth scorer we hoped he can be. Again, the question with him is still how long will it last, but right now, all is well. So it took 7 goals, but the Avs finally have their first lead of the game, and now you're saying, alright, we can settle things down a little bit, we're in a much more comfortable position. And we would go 5 minutes without a goal getting scored, so it was starting to look that way, but eventually Vancouver gets an offensive zone possession. A shot beats Grubauer clean, but rings off the post for the 15th of those of the season, and just a moment later, they end up getting one off of a weak save by Grubauer. Stecher gets the puck on the half wall here. He's going to walk in and fire a shot. You see it clearly hits Grubauer in the chest. He tries to stick it there with his glove, but he ends up fumbling it. At the same time, you see Dries and McKinnon have failed to box out on Roussel. From there, it drops to the ice. Grubauer struggles to find it near his stick here. He eventually sees it and goes for the cover, but he's not quick enough, and once again, Dries failing to recognize where his man is. Pettersson gets his stick on it and somehow pushes it through Grubauer. Yes, you can definitely put part of the blame on the Avs struggling to help in the crease area there, but Grubauer really needs to lock that puck down. At this point, you've seen 2 pretty soft goals given up by him. Clearly, hindsight is 20/20 and thinking maybe the Avs should have pulled him here, but it was obvious that he was off his game. That would be the final goal of the 7 scored in this period, and we would go into the third tied at 4. At the start of the third period, the Avs showed no signs of slowing down, getting some more production from their defense. Some puck sloppiness in the neutral zone eventually leads to Zadorov picking up this puck, and he just opts to skate it himself all the way through the neutral zone and into the offensive zone, where he just snaps off a wrist shot and it goes up into the top corner. The neat thing is, we've actually seen that from Zadorov a couple of times before. It's not anything new for him, and you can expect him to do that a handful of times every season. It's worth noting he was paired with Tyson Barrie tonight, maybe something he's a little bit more comfortable jumping up into plays like that and can do a little bit more offensively, which I know sounds weird because he's paired with Tyson Barrie, but it's just kind of how it seems to work for him. So with the Avs finally regaining the lead, it this time seems like the game is actually going to settle down a little bit. It stops being quite so back and forth, and the first half of the third period is relatively calm. We do start to see Vancouver pushing back, and initially even Grubauer is starting to look better as well as the Avs defense. Everything's going well until the Avs run into the problem that they've been running into this entire year long. taking penalties. And this one wasn't a soft call either. It was just a bad penalty to take by Ian Cole. After a couple of very nice saves by GrubSour, he kind of tosses it out the window with a terrible read, and the game gets tied. Avs on the PK here, their forwards clearly are caught out far too high. That opens up a ton of space down low. Vancouver works it down into the right circle here, and you can see Granlund on the left side going to sneak into the soft spot left by the forwards. As he's coming into the slot, he's going to get fed the pass. GrubSour is going to overread this pass across, expecting it to go all the way to that left circle. He leaves far too much of the right side open here. You're going to see Granlund pull it across into this circle. Ton to shoot at here on the near side of GrubSour. He actually fans on the shot, and GrubSour still can't recover, and he gets beat up high. Again, there were some problems there with the Avs defense. The forwards getting caught way too high. Zadorov not able to get his stick on that puck and whatever Nemeth was doing in front. But still, that marks the third straight goal where it was a soft play from GrubSour. He's just got to be stronger than that. A nice save here and there is good, but you got to make the ones that are expected of you. Again, it doesn't boil down to any individual mistake. It's when you combine them that you have an issue. So now you got a 10-minute ball game, and at this point, I'm confident in the Avs offense to get another goal, but that's about as far as that confidence goes. They could easily give one up in that time as well. For the most part, the rest are letting them play for the majority of the game. It's just kind of the ebb and flow. I was fine with it, but the Avs finally get a call with less than 5 minutes to go in the game. And the Avs power play this time comes through because they do something that they have not done enough of. After spending most of this power play working the perimeter, Rantanen gets a puck on the half wall, and what does he do? He works it down low to Landeskog. This is the key. You gotta get it deep. You gotta get that defense collapsing down on you. Landeskog picks it up, gets his head up, finds McKinnon on the back door. Look at all of that space when they work it down low. Look at all of that. So much room for McKinnon to use. Landeskog gets it across, and it's an easy one. Take that clip and just play it on repeat for the Avs power play. Show them how effective getting that puck down low and moving your feet is, because oh my goodness is that so much better than what we've seen lately. And as a bonus, you have a minute and a half left in this game with a 1-goal lead now. You should have this wrapped up. But you don't, because not only is your goalie a mess, so is your defense. Should be one of the most routine plays ever. Puck goes in behind the Avs net. GrubSour stops it for Landeskog. Landeskog doesn't really receive it well. Maybe GrubSour didn't hand it to him well. Either way, not great. Landeskog with the puck in his skates is going to panic here and just kind of slap it to EJ. Problem is, he didn't look, and EJ's side was the covered side with Horvat down low. As the puck comes across, EJ loses the puck battle cleanly. Horvat just throws it out front, and all of a sudden the Avs have 5 guys below their own face-off dot, no one covering out high, and it gets snapped up over GrubSour. That one's frustrating, because that's just terribly sloppy hockey. You have to be better than that. Even just pinning the puck behind your own boards. Know the situation. There's 30 seconds left in the game. All you have to do is not turn it directly over there and you're fine. Every time I start to think the Avs are learning what to do under pressure, they kind of take a step back like this. So a game you should have won in regulation about 5 times over ends up going to overtime. The good news is here, at least you got a point. You didn't totally collapse. The bad news is, you guys don't get lucky in overtime. For what it's worth, there seemed to be a lot more coherence to this overtime for the Avs. They had a game plan. When they needed to hold on to the puck, they tried to do so. So that worked well. It's just they couldn't get the job done. Landy had a fantastic chance about halfway through. Bangs it off the post. The ninth bad post of the season. Not so fun fact, 3 of those 8 posts have come in overtime. Brutal, man. And then Sam Girard gets caught on a pinch a little bit, can't handle the puck, and it's a partial breakaway back the other way. Alex Kerfoot gets tangled with the player and ends up taking a penalty. Was it a penalty? I mean, we could get into that conversation. I don't really want to, though. You gave up a breakaway in overtime. Sometimes that call's just going to go against you. And on the kill, the Avs' bad overtime luck continues. The Avs' penalty kill has honestly probably collapsed a little bit too much here. You kind of have a mix-up here with Bourque and Soderberg both covering the same passing lane. Soderberg is probably better off cutting out and taking away this high pass while also challenging the player with the puck. But it is what it is when you only have 3 players out there. It's hard to cover that much ground. The shot comes in and beats GrubSour clean, but once again hits the posts. This time though, as Gabe Bourque is circling back into box out, he manages to do so, but the puck just bounces directly off of him and into the net. And the Avs lose a game they really should have won here. Despite the loss, it didn't bother me that much. The things that are going to win Avs games were there. The top line producing very well. McKinnon and Rantanen both had 3 points. And the Avs found what seems to be a key depth line for them in Dries, Wilson, and Kerfoot. So if that keeps up consistency, don't worry about anything. The Avs will be just fine. Yes, they got very poor goaltending tonight. That happens sometimes. You're willing to wash that one off. They're going to get better goaltending than that on any given night. It was probably a fairly easy game to win if they got it here. For GrubSour, it's a tough one. Like I said, you let it go, but if he has another or 2 more games like this, then that's a real problem. The defense was not good. Puck management, not good. But that's not really anything new. We've seen a lot of that from the Avs this year. They've gotten away with it a lot of the time. They didn't get away with it here. A mix-up with the D pairs definitely had something to do with it. Like I said, Zadorov was back with Barry, and they put Nemeth with EJ, and that pair just didn't work at all tonight. The Avs are still a team designed to win games with their offense. An incredibly high-powered top line and depth that is getting better and should be better based on the team's players. They should be getting more scoring like we've seen in the past 2 games. The defense for the Avs is the best it's been in years, but that doesn't make it one of the better defenses in the league necessarily. It's serviceable, but they still have a lot of issues to work out. While I was hoping for better, I'm willing to put this weird schedule anomaly behind the Avs, and if they come back and play offense like this, they're going to win a lot of games. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I'm Rudo3, and I'm really glad I'm not a goaltender.